Hello and welcome back in this very special video because lately I've been making legendary Ford engines, legendary one in the 70s, late 60s, early 60s, these bunch of legendary V8s, and this one is a very special one as well. This is the Ford 351 cubic inch Cleveland 2V. This is the, as you can see, this is the H code version of it, because apparently there is three versions of it: the H code, the M code, and the R code. The H code stands for the regular mainstream pony car, V8 with the two-barrel carburetor and cast heads, and also has the cast iron crankshaft, the forged connecting rods, and the cast aluminum or aluminium pistons. As you can see, this is the top of the range H code 2V, because there was a the minimum version of this Cleveland 2V H code has 8.1 to 1 compression ratio, but this one has, as you can see, the same cast iron, heavy duty forged. As you can see, everything is normal. It has the 9.5 to 1 compression ratio, which is the highest compression in the H code family. As you can see, let's start from the beginning. This engine is a 90 degrees 8-cylinder with cast iron block, 101.6 mm on the bore, 88.9 mm on the stroke, and the total is 5,766, or you can say 5.8 liter, 5.7, because they did not call it in liters at the time. They called it the 351 Cleveland. That's it. And I've actually, to make this engine, I had to convert the numbers here, and the calculations. I had to convert it from metric to imperial in inch, so I can convert it to cubic inch, and the result here was 351 cubic inch as Wikipedia said. And then I recalculated again to meters or to metric, so I can give you the cc or the liter version of it. So this is 100% perfectly made family capacity. As you can see, it has the push rods, 2 valves per cylinder. This is very common and very typical of American muscle cars, pony cars, V8 at the time. All of them, or let's say 90% of them, used push rods. Cast iron heads, as I mentioned, because this is the H code 2V version. Let's see, moving on, we have cast iron crank, as I said before, heavy duty forged for the connecting rod. And this is weird because the cast iron or the cast ones will work perfectly. I'm not really sure why did Ford chose the heavy duty forged or the forged steel, as they call it. I'm not really sure why, because there is the M version or the R version. I'm not really sure. One of them, I think the R version, has the forged pistons. I mean, forged pistons with forged connecting rods, they will work perfectly, because then you can rev the engine higher. But using cast pistons and heavy duty forged or forged steel, this is a weird combination. But I cannot argue with the engineers at that time, so I'm gonna make it as perfectly as they did at the time. Moving on, zero quality on the internals. As you can see, 9.5 to 1, the highest version of the H code, 41 on the cam profile. And yes, I had to use plus 14 quality here, so I can get the original power and torque numbers like the real engine. Yes, I had to use really plus 14 here. I know this is weird. I know that this is like a mainstream engine. This is not like a special made engine. No, this was a mainstream engine in real life. But so I can make it in automation, I had to use plus 14 quality. Naturally aspirated, of course. Turbos are not yet, they hasn't been invented yet. Let's see, carburetor. As you can see, I'm using 2-barrel carburetor. This was the factory option here. Single carburetor on the top. Performance intake, because this was a pony V8, a pony car V8. There is two types of sports car from the United States at that time: the muscle cars and the pony car. This was a pony engine, still powerful, still torquey, but nonetheless it still has the 2-barrel carburetor at the time with the performance intake manifold. 98 octane fuel. I know this is also weird selection here. I should have chosen the regular, because these engine these engines were working on regular fuel, not not super fuel, not super leaded. And also I think the leaded is a weird option here, because I think I'm not really sure in the 70s if if the regular pump station they started to sell regular or not. I'm not really sure. If you know this information, what was the year that the regular fuel was starting to show up in the normal pump station? You can tell me that in the comment section in the US. Moving on, I'm using 13.0 is the air fuel ratio, which is the highest you can get, the highest you can go with a 2-barrel carburetor. 59 on the ignition timing, 5500 is the RPM limit, plus 15 quality on the fuel system. Also, this is weird, but I had to do it so the engine will not knock and explode. Moving on, I'm using short cast headers, dual exhaust pipes, 2-inch exhaust pipe or 50.8 millimeters. No catalytic converters, of course, because I'm using leaded fuel, reverse flow first muffler and no second muffler. Zero quality also here, and this is the final result. 250 horsepower at 5200 rpm, 349 pound-feet of torque at 2200 rpm. As you can see, the main purpose of these engines at that time was to make torque, because cars at that time were extremely heavy, especially American cars. They were very, very heavy at the time, and you need immense amount of torque to move that steel and weight everywhere you want to go. And of course the engine will make good power. 250 horsepower at the 1970s was a great deal over there back then, sorry, but nearly 350 pound-feet of torque, this is good, this is not bad. The engine, it has good reliability because I'm using plus 15 parts, and the service cost is low. It's making great fuel economy, 15% for a performance V8 at the time. Yes, the engine is a killer toxic engine, of course, because I'm using leaded fuel. The engine is heavy, of course, cast iron everything except the connecting rods. The engine has normal smoothness, normal throttle response. The engine has a sporty noise to it, and the engineering time, because since this is a replica of the real engine, engineering time and the production units, because I'm still in the 70s, they just don't look here. I mean, they are high, a little bit high here, but it's okay because this is a replica of the real engine. This is a one-time shot. I'm not gonna make this engine and resell it or make it a mass-produced engine. This is a one-time shot of a legendary engine. Now let's move on. Let me show you the graph. As you can see, the torque starts very early. As you can see, at 900 rpm you are making, or the engine is making 257 pound-feet of torque. This is great. 257 at idle. This is amazing. I mean, you can reach the highest amount of torque really easily driving every day, which was the main purpose of this engine. As you can see, everything in the green here, there are no problems whatsoever. The flow bench, of course, the intake is restricting air because I'm using a single carburetor on the top. If I chose dual carburetors or 3 carburetors on the top, the engine will make much more power and it will run on lower octane, but I have to make it like the original one. Now let's fire up this puppy because it's running smooth and it makes great noise. Let me show it or make you listen to it. As you can see, I want you to look at the vacuum gauge here, because a single carburetor on the top is really restricting vacuum and it's really choking the engine out. I want you to look at here, because this needle will never reach this 0 mark here when I run the engine. As I mentioned, this carburetor is choking the engine out. It's okay, it's still reliable, it's still very torquey, and this is how they made it back in the 70s. And this engine actually was produced from the 1970s all the way to 1974. So this was a popular engine, as I mentioned, in pony cars. And I mean, I've seen photos of it on Google, and it looks magnificent. It's not looking bad inside the engine bay. They have dressed it very well. Sometimes with blue air cleaner cover, sometimes a short ram intake, and sometimes with a bigger filter than this one, bigger filter than this one. And the manifold looks amazing. The front dressing on the engine looks very classic and nice at the time. I mean, it's not a bad engine, it's a really great engine, and I'm really happy to make the 2V version of it. There is also a 4V version, and the 4V, I've read in the Wikipedia, they meant by the 4V and the 2V the Venturi for the carburetors. There was a 2V and the 4V. The V stands for the Venturi. I mean, you can explain it to me in the comment section. I'm not really a carburetor expert. I've never actually, played with them, or I've never actually worked on a carbureted engine before, but I've seen carburetors in real life, but I don't know what Venturi means. So if you know what I mean, or if you know what does it mean, just tell me in the comment section. I love to know all these information, from car enthusiasts. So thank you so much guys for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and this trip to the past, because this is a great engine. I'm really happy to make it. So thank you so much guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, press that like button, get subscribed if you are new to my channel, watch all my previous videos, and keep requesting more cool engines from the past or even from the future. I don't care, just give me those cool requests, and because I'm really happy to see your crazy ideas or your cool ideas from every time and every period. Thank you so much, and I will see you very soon, and goodbye.